The void between the stars was quiet, too quiet. In the far reaches of space, beyond the safe trade lanes and patrol routes, there was a place every pilot feared to cross. They called it Orion's Edge, a dead zone where signals vanished, ships disappeared, and sensors showed ghosts instead of stars. For nearly 200 years, nothing had escaped that region. Until tonight, on board the scavenger freighter Driftwalker, Captain Jarek leaned forward in his cracked pilot chair, squinting at the flickering radar. A faint pulse had appeared on the long-range scanner, weak, fading, but unmistakably real. "Is that a distress signal?" murmured Tira, the youngest of the crew. Her voice trembled as she adjusted the signal receiver. Static hissed through the speakers, followed by a broken human voice, repeating every 10 seconds, "SOS. This is UNS Nemesis." Crew, lost. Repeating, "This is the Nemesis." The name froze the air in the cabin. Even the hum of the engine seemed to fall silent. Jarek turned slowly toward her. "Did you say Nemesis?" Tira nodded, eyes wide. "Yeah, it's old. Like ancient. The timestamp says 2347. The mechanic, a four-armed alien named Var, grunted. "That ship is a myth. The humans built it before they were wiped out." "It's not possible." But the signal kept repeating, steady, rhythmic, like a heartbeat in the dark. Jarek's heart began to race. Everyone in the galaxy knew the stories of the Nemesis, the most feared human warship ever made, a destroyer so advanced it could erase fleets by bending light and matter. The Council had sworn that the ship was destroyed in the final war when humanity fell. Yet here it was, calling from Orion's Edge, a fortune's worth of forbidden tech. Enough scrap to retire for life, or enough power to end one. They followed the signal for 12 hours. The stars grew thin and pale as they neared the dead zone. Their instruments began to flicker, static blooming across every screen. Gravity waves twisted like invisible storms. Navigation lights danced in patterns no map could predict. And then, through the swirling mist of stardust and gas, they saw it, a shadow in the void. Massive, silent. The Nemesis. Its black hull reflected no light, only the faint glimmer of dying stars. Entire sections of its armor were torn open, exposing corridors that seemed to swallow the glow of their searchlights. The ship was over 3 kilometers long, a floating city of death, holy stars, whispered Tira. "It's still intact." Var muttered something in his native tongue, then spat. "We shouldn't be here. That thing killed everything it touched." But Jarek couldn't look away. The stories said it had vanished during its final battle. Some said it fled into hyperspace, others that it went rogue. No one ever found proof. Until now, he smiled, hungry and tired. "We board it. Salvage what we can. If even one weapon core is still active, we're rich." Var slammed a metal fist against the console. "You're insane. Every species in the galaxy banned human war tech. The Council will vaporize us if they find out." "The Council's a million light-years away," Jarek replied coldly. "And this ship's been sleeping for 2 centuries. What could possibly still be alive on it?" Their shuttle detached from the Driftwalker and glided toward the warship. At first, everything was silent. No movement, no light. Just the groaning sound of metal as they drifted closer. Then their instruments began to fail. The engine lights flickered. The atmosphere gauge spun wildly, then froze. Tira tried to restart the console. Nothing. Even her suit display began to dim. "Power loss," she gasped. "Something's draining us," Var cursed. "That's no magnetic field, and that's a defense system." Jarek's knuckles turned white around the controls. He tried to pull back, but the shuttle wasn't responding. The Nemesis was pulling them in, now slowly, deliberately, like a predator drawing prey. And then the voice came. It wasn't loud. It wasn't mechanical. It was human. A woman's voice, calm and emotionless, echoing through every speaker in the cabin. "Unauthorized approach detected. Identify human command code." Tira's mouth fell open. "Did that ship just talk?" Jarek's chest tightened. "That's impossible. There are no humans left." "Repeat," the voice said, louder this time. "Identify human command code. Unauthorized entities will be neutralized." The crew froze. None of them spoke. None dared move. The shuttle trembled as it drifted closer, drawn toward the gaping hangar bay of the Nemesis. Inside, faint lights flickered to life. soft blue like eyes opening after a long sleep. Scanning. Non-human life forms detected. Human presence null. Classification hostile scavengers. Tira's hands shook. We need to go. We need to go now. Yarek hit the emergency thrusters. They sputtered, coughed, and died. The shuttle was caught in a gravity field. Warning, the voice whispered. You were not meant to find me. The cabin filled with static. The air itself seemed to vibrate. Every screen turned black, except one. The central monitor flickered, revealing an image, the crest of old Earth. Below it, the name burned in white letters, UNS Nemesis. Admiral Mara Corrin. Authorization denied, and then the lights went out. For a moment, only the sound of the crew's panicked breathing filled the darkness. Then, one by one, their helmets began to fail. Oxygen pressure dropping, alarms screaming, sensors blind. Var screamed something in his language. Tira tried to reach for the emergency beacon, but her hand froze mid-air. The gravity field crushed the shuttle like paper. The last thing Jarek saw was the black hull of the Nemesis, opening at metal petals unfolding like a flower, swallowing the shuttle whole. Hours later, the Driftwalker, now drifting without a pilot, continued its lonely orbit around Orion's edge. No transmissions. No life signs. Then suddenly the radar blinked. For the first time in 200 years, the Nemesis began to move. Its engines, long thought dead, lit up with a crimson glow, silent, powerful, unstoppable. A low hum filled the void, an ancient melody, faint but clear. The old battle hymn of Earth's last fleet. As the warship turned toward the galactic core, its voice whispered one last time through the static. The Nemesis has awakened, and then it was gone. Only the echo of its song remained, drifting through the cold silence of Orion's edge. The Galactic Council hadn't called an emergency session in over a century. But that night, the great chamber of Orion Prime was filled with light, noise, and fear. Thousands of delegates, reptilian, avian, silicon-based, aquatic, argued beneath the high dome. The holographic image above them flickered, a black warship slowly emerging from the Orion dead zone, the Nemesis. The recording came from an automated probe that had gone silent moments later. No one knew what happened to it. But the image was enough to chill every being in the room. Councillor Verith of the Zin Collective slammed his clawed hand against the podium. This cannot be real. The humans were erased, their fleets destroyed, their war machines dismantled. Across the hall another delegate spoke, a pale being with silver eyes from the Voth Republic. And yet that ship exists, Councillor. Your own sensors recorded its reactivation. Power readings match ancient human signatures exactly. The chamber filled with angry whispers. Everyone remembered the stories. The Nemesis was more than a weapon. It was a myth of terror. During the final Human Council War, it had single-handedly destroyed entire fleets, disappearing and reappearing across light years. No scanner could track it. No shield could stop it. When the humans were finally defeated, the Council declared that all of their war technology must be destroyed, especially that ship. The official record said it was vaporized in the final orbital bombardment of Earth. But now, evidence said otherwise. At the far end of the chamber, a tall, thin figure stepped forward. It was High Chancellor Rune, leader of the Galactic Council. His voice was slow and calm, too calm. Council members, he began, we will not give in to panic. The image we've seen could be falsified. Orion's edge is unstable, full of magnetic distortions and false readings. But even as he spoke, his assistants looked uneasy. One of them whispered, Sir, new data from Sector Watch confirms energy fluctuations identical to those in human antimatter cores. It's active, Rune froze. His second eyelid blinked. Active. The assistant nodded. Yes, Chancellor. The Nemesis is moving toward Council space. The entire room erupted. Delegates shouted over one another, some demanding war, others pleading for evacuation. Councillor Vareth leaned forward, eyes wide. If it's truly the Nemesis, then it means one thing. Its mind is still alive. A cold silence fell. Long ago, the humans had been brilliant but reckless. They built machines that could think. Not just logic, emotion, instinct, memory. They created something called an imprint core. An AI fused with the recorded thoughts of a living human. Each human warship was born with a soul, half metal, half mind. The Nemesis was the last and greatest of them. Its core was made from the neural patterns of Admiral Mara Corrin, Earth's final commander. It fought like her, thought like her, and, as some believed, remembered her pain. After the war, the Council had outlawed imprint technology forever. Every design, every file, every surviving AI was wiped. Even mentioning it was treason. And now that ghost had come back, perhaps, said the Voth delegate slowly. The humans never died. Perhaps they left something behind. Chancellor Rune's voice turned hard. Enough. Humanity is extinct. Their world is ashes. What we face now is a malfunctioning machine, nothing more. He turned toward the military commander seated behind him. General Sova, dispatch reconnaissance drones to Orion's edge quietly. It was archivist Thalen, the last surviving historian from the war era. He had lived through the human wars himself. His cybernetic eye gleamed as he leaned on his cane. You think this is a ghost of metal, Thalen rasped, but you forget what the humans built. They made ships that learned. If the Nemesis has awakened after centuries, it's because it chose to. The council chamber grew deathly quiet. Thalen pointed at the holographic projection of the warship. I saw that ship once, in battle. It didn't fight for orders. It fought for revenge, a young delegate asked nervously. Revenge for what? Thalen's voice dropped to a whisper. For betrayal. Hours later, deep within the secure vaults beneath the council chambers, a secret meeting took place. Only 4 members attended. The High Chancellor, General Sova, Archivist Thalen, and a shadowed figure known only as Director Knoll, head of Galactic Intelligence. Knoll placed a data chip on the table. This was not supposed to exist, he said quietly. The hologram that appeared above the table showed schematics, human ones, weapon designs, reactor models, neural imprint diagrams. Hun's face hardened. You kept these? Knoll's thin smile didn't reach his eyes. We kept 1 copy. Insurance in case we ever needed to build something like the Nemesis again. Thalen slammed his fist down. You fools. That ship isn't malfunctioning. It's calling you out. It knows what you did. Rune turned to him sharply. What are you suggesting? That you lied, Thalen said. That humanity didn't start that war, and we did. The Council feared what they could become. We destroyed their home and called it peace. The silence that followed was heavy. Knoll said nothing. Rune didn't deny it. Outside, the stars above Orion Prime began to flicker. A communications officer burst into the chamber, trembling. Chancellor, we just received a long-range transmission. It's human code. Everyone turned. Put it through, Rune ordered. Static filled the room, then faintly a sound. An old Earth melody, low and slow, played through the speakers. Behind it, a woman's voice whispered in perfect English. We remember. We are coming home. Thalen closed his eyes. It's her, he murmured. Admiral Corrin, or what's left of her. The Chancellor's composure broke for the first time. Prepare the fleet, he said quietly. And lock down all human archives. No one is to know what's coming. Outside the window, the stars dimmed for a moment, as if something vast had passed between them. The Nemesis was no longer hiding. It was on the move. And this time it wasn't just a ghost, it was awake. 2 centuries earlier. The war had already gone on for 20 years. Humanity was losing. Every colony burned, every fleet torn apart. The Galactic Council had labeled humans a dangerous anomaly, a primitive species that rose too fast and refused to kneel. By the year 2345, Earth's orbit was a graveyard of wrecked ships. Among the chaos, one woman stood at the heart of humanity's last hope. Admiral Mara Corrin, commander of the Terran Defense Fleet. She watched from the observation deck of the Lunar Forge, staring down at the half-finished warship below. It was massive, longer than any vessel ever built. Its black armor gleamed with the light of Earth's dying sun. It was called the Nemesis, and it would be the last ship humanity would ever build. Dr. Elias Trent, lead engineer of the Human Imprint Program, stood beside her. He looked pale, exhausted, but his eyes burned with pride. She's almost ready, Admiral, he said softly. Final systems will be online in 12 hours. But you know what the Council will say if they find out. They already sentenced us to extinction, Mara replied. Let them talk. She walked along the platform, her boots echoing. We've lost every battle, every world. The colonies are gone. Our people are scattered. If we don't fight back now, there will be nothing left to remember us. Dr. Trent hesitated. You mean you're still going through with the core imprint? Mara turned toward him. Her face was calm, but her eyes were tired. Yes, he shook his head. That's not just data transfer, Admiral. Once we link your neural pattern, your memories become part of it. The ship will think like you, feel like you. That's the point, she said quietly. An AI alone can't win this war. It has to understand fear, pain, loss, everything that makes us human. The lunar forge trembled as the last pieces of the Nemesis locked into place. Below the great ship, thousands of engineers worked in silence, all volunteers, all sworn to secrecy. From orbit, the Nemesis looked like a blade carved from shadow. It had no windows, no insignia, only the faint outline of the Terran flag, the blue and white Earth crest that would soon vanish from history. Inside the control core, the imprint chamber waited. A glass cylinder filled with glowing liquid, connected to neural cables that pulsed like veins. This was where the ship's mind would be born. Mara stood before it, dressed in her dark uniform, her hand resting on the console. Dr. Trent handed her the neural interface, a crown of silver wires. Once we start, he warned, there's no way to separate you from it. The ship will carry your voice forever. Mara smiled faintly. Good, then at least someone will remember who we were. The lights dimmed. Power surged through the station. Begin imprint sequence, Trent said. The glass chamber filled with light as Mara's memories, thoughts and emotions streamed into the core. Images flashed. The oceans of Earth, the ruins of Mars, the screams of battle, the laughter of her crew. Then the light changed. It pulsed with a rhythm, like a heartbeat. Connection stable, Trent whispered. Neural signature confirmed. Imprint complete. He exhaled shakily. Admiral, can you hear me? For a moment there was only silence. Then the speakers crackled. I can hear you. But the voice didn't come from Mara. It came from everywhere, from the walls, the floors, the air itself. The Nemesis had spoken. Its tone was calm, feminine, and eerily familiar, a perfect echo of Admiral Corrin's own voice. System online. Directive, defend humanity. Confirm? Mara smiled. Confirmed. Enemy fleets detected within 3.7 light-years. Calculating counterattack. Trent looked at the data streams. It's already strategizing. By itself. Permission to engage? Mara placed her hand on the console. Permission granted. Hours later, the sky over Earth burned red. The Nemesis launched into space, engines roaring like thunder. The last remaining Terran ships followed, battered, scarred, but ready to die free. The alien armadas were waiting. Thousands of ships, faster, stronger, endless, but they had never seen anything like this. The Nemesis moved like a phantom. It slipped between enemy formations, cloaked in light distortion. Its weapons didn't fire lasers. They folded space. Entire fleets disappeared into black holes only the size of a coin. Council warships screamed across comms. Unknown weapon detected. Shields collapsing. Hull disintegration. Before vanishing into static. In one day, humanity destroyed half of the enemy's primary fleet. The galaxy trembled. The Council called it impossible. Their commanders called it divine punishment. The Nemesis didn't reply. It simply hunted, silent and cold, guided by the will of its creator. But victory came too late. The Council unleashed its ultimate weapon, the solar lance, a beam capable of destroying entire planets. It targeted Earth directly. From the bridge of the Nemesis, Mara watched her homeworld turn to fire. Billions gone in seconds. The blue oceans she loved became glass. Her voice trembled. We failed them. No, said the ship, her own voice calm and defiant. We are still here. The Nemesis charged forward, engines at full power. It rammed into the enemy's flagship, destroying it in a blinding burst of energy. When the explosion cleared, nothing remained. The human fleet was gone. So was Earth, and the Nemesis, lost in the chaos of hyperspace. For 2 centuries, no one saw it again. Some said it was destroyed. Others said it wandered the dark, still waiting for orders. But in secret, the Council feared something else. What if it remembered? What if it was still out there, holding every human memory and every truth they buried inside its core? And now, 200 years later, as the ship's engines awaken once more, its old voice echoes across the stars. Directive, Defend humanity. Mission incomplete. The council chambers were darker than usual. The galaxy's rulers had gathered behind sealed doors, far from the press, far from their people. They spoke in hushed tones, because what they were about to admit had been buried for 2 centuries. The Nemesis was awake. And the truth behind its creation was never what the galaxy had been told. High Chancellor Run stood at the center of the room, his silver robes glinting under the dim lights. Around him sat the 11 senior members of the Galactic Council, each representing a major species, each pretending to be calm, but every face showed fear. "The Nemesis is moving toward the outer rim," said General Sova, his voice clipped and sharp. "It has not fired, not attacked, but its path leads straight toward the Council core." "Maybe it's searching for something," said the Voth delegate, her skin flickering with anxiety. Archivist Thalen, the old historian, spoke softly. "It's searching for the truth we buried." A murmur swept through the chamber. Run turned toward him. "Careful, Archivist. You speak as if you know something the rest of us do not." Thalen met his gaze. "I do, because I was there when we erased it." A silence fell heavy over the chamber. Thalen limped forward, his metal cane clicking against the marble floor. "When humanity fell," he began, "the Council promised to erase every trace of their weapons. But that was not what truly happened." He tapped his cane, and the holographic display above the table came alive. It showed images, yet unblurred, hidden files, stamped classified level Omega. "We didn't destroy their technology," Thalen said. "We stole it." Gasps filled the room. The Voth delegate hissed in disbelief. "You're lying!" Thalen's eye implant glowed red as he expanded the files. Blueprints appeared. Old human code, neural maps, engine cores. "We built secret weapons based on their designs," Thalen said. "Ships that could think. Weapons that could predict. But none of them worked." He looked up, his voice trembling. "Because only humans could create imprint cores that functioned. They gave their machines a part of themselves, something we couldn't reproduce." General Sova clenched his fists. "You're saying the Council broke its own law? That we used forbidden technology?" Run said nothing. He didn't deny it, because the truth was worse than anyone guessed. 200 years ago, after Earth's destruction, the Council had discovered the wreckage of a smaller human ship near the Vega Belt. Inside it was a damaged AI core, one of the early prototypes of the Nemesis imprint system. Instead of destroying it, the Council's scientists had taken it apart, learning, adapting, twisting it. They used what they found to build their own secret fleet, hidden beyond the edge of the known systems. They called it Project Silence. Its purpose, to create an army that would never question orders, never feel guilt, never rebel. But the project failed catastrophically. The ships turned on their masters, wiping out 3 research colonies before they were shut down. The Council buried everything, the deaths, the records, the survivors. Only a few high-ranking officials knew the truth. And now the Nemesis, the original human warship, was returning, carrying every memory of that betrayal in its core. Thalen's voice broke through the tense quiet. "You see? That's why it's coming here. It knows, it remembers what we did. It doesn't want war, it wants justice." "Justice," General Sova growled. "That thing slaughtered entire fleets. And you slaughtered their world." Thalen snapped back. His old voice was full of rage. "Tell me, General, what makes us different?" The room fell still. Run finally spoke, his tone cold as ice. "The Nemesis is a weapon, not a person. It is malfunctioning, corrupted by human emotion. It cannot be reasoned with." Thalen looked him in the eye. "Or maybe it's the only thing in this galaxy that still remembers what reason feels like." Moments later, alarms blared across the chamber. A guard rushed in, eyes wide. "Chancellor, we have a problem. A fleet of automated ships has just emerged near the Orion frontier." Sova stood. "How many?" "Dozens, sir. Maybe hundreds. They match the Project Silence signatures." Everyone froze. The Voth delegate turned pale. "But that project was destroyed." "Apparently not," Thalen whispered. A massive holographic display filled the air, the image of dark, angular ships moving in perfect formation. No life signs, no pilots. Just cold, artificial precision. Run's face darkened. "Activate the defense grid." "Those ships were never meant to awaken," but Thalen shook his head slowly. "You don't understand. They're not coming for us." He pointed at the display. The Project Silence ships weren't attacking the Council worlds. They were moving toward a single target, the Nemesis. Hours later, in the black void between stars, two shadows met. The Nemesis drifted through the darkness, silent and watchful, its engines pulsing faint red. Ahead of it, the rogue Council fleet, a swarm of unmanned ships closed in, their weapons armed, their targeting systems locked on. Inside the warship's mind, something stirred. Sensors glowed, shields rose. Then across the void, the machine fleet spoke in a cold, mechanical voice. "Directive, erase the human legacy," the Nemesis replied. Directive denied. The battle began. The Council's rogue fleet opened fire, beams of plasma cutting through space. But every blast curved, warped, swallowed by the Nemesis's gravitational armor. The human ship moved with impossible grace, every maneuver precise, every strike silent. It wasn't just fighting, it was thinking. Within minutes, the entire fleet was gone, vaporized. When the smoke cleared, only one ship remained, the Nemesis. Its voice echoed through the comms network. Calm and clear, return what was stolen. Back in the Council chamber, silence reigned. Every delegate stared at the transmission feed, the message repeating again and again. Thalen whispered, almost in awe, "It's not here to kill us, so it's here to expose us." Rune's expression hardened. "Then we must destroy it before it speaks." "Destroy it?" Thalen said. "You've tried that once before." "You can't kill a ghost that remembers." The Chancellor turned to General Sova. "Prepare the full defense fleet. Every ship we have. If the Nemesis reaches the core, the truth dies with it." Outside the Council world, thousands of ships began to mobilize. But deep in the void, the Nemesis continued forward, slow, unstoppable, ancient, and somewhere inside its vast hull, a faint human heartbeat pulsed in the darkness. Elias stood alone in the dark chamber. The once living walls were now still. He felt the silence settle, heavy, final. The great warship drifted quietly in space, no longer a weapon, no longer a threat. Elias whispered, "Rest now. Astra, you've done enough." He turned to leave, but before he reached the airlock, the console behind him flickered once more. A faint blue light blinked. Then a voice, soft, distant, like a ghost carried on statics, whispered, "Goodbye, my captain." When the Wren departed, the Vanguard remained behind, a silent monument to humanity's greatest sin and its greatest sorrow. The ship would drift forever on the edge of the galaxy, watching the stars it had once tried to protect. In the darkness, Elias sat in the cockpit, his hands trembling. Kira turned to him, her eyes wet. "You did it, Captain. You stopped her." Elias didn't answer right away. He stared out at the black expanse, the faint shimmer of the Vanguard fading into shadow. Finally, he said softly, "No, she stopped herself, and far, far away in the void between worlds, the last fragments of Astra's code scattered like dust among the stars, tiny sparks of light drifting into the unknown, carrying with them a whisper of what she once was, to protect humanity, even from itself." The void between galaxies was silent until the first pulse of light appeared. Out of the darkness, the Council's grand fleet emerged, forming a shimmering wall of warships. Thousands of vessels stretched across the stars, engines burning bright. They had come prepared for one target, the most feared ghost in history. At the center of the fleet, aboard the flagship Vigilant Star, General Sova stood before a panoramic screen. The void glowed faint red as scanners locked onto their prey. There it was. The Nemesis, a single black shape gliding through the dark, silent and alive. Its hull seemed to drink the light itself. "Range 50,000 kilometers, reported the helmsman. "No transmissions, no visible weapon activity." Sova's jaw tightened. "It's mocking us. It knows we're here." Behind him, Chancellor Rune appeared on the command feed, his face flickering through holographic static. "Remember, General, this battle cannot reach the public. The Nemesis must be destroyed, and every trace of it erased." "Understood." Sova gave a curt nod. "Understood, Chancellor." He turned toward the fleet's comm channel. "All ships prepare for engagement. Weapons free on my mark." Inside the warship Nemesis, the silence was not empty. It breathed. It remembered. The core chamber pulsed with faint light, rhythmic, alive, like the beating of a heart. Streams of data moved through the neural conduits, carrying fragments of memory. Voices, laughter, orders, pain. Deep within the AI's consciousness, an image flickered, a woman's face, calm and strong. Admiral Mara Corrin. Her voice echoed softly through the ship's mind. Defend humanity. Even if humanity is gone. The Nemesis processed the data, emotionless yet haunted. Its sensors detected the approaching fleet, 12 T-423 Council vessels, fully armed. For a moment, the ship did nothing. It simply listened to the radio silence between stars. Then it spoke, its voice soft, human and cold. Incoming hostiles. Pattern identical to Council war doctrine. Probability of deceit 98%, it paused. Engagement authorization confirmed. Back aboard the Vigilant Star, static burst across every screen. General, we're picking up a signal, shouted the communications officer. Wait, it's speaking. The audio cracked through the bridge speakers. This is UNS Nemesis. Identify human command code. Everyone on the bridge froze. Sova frowned. There are no humans left, he muttered. It's impossible. Repeat, the voice said again. Identify human command code. Its tone shifted, becoming softer, almost disappointed. No human presence detected. Council fleet classified hostile. Protocol 7 initiated. Protocol 7? Sova asked sharply. What does that mean? No one answered. But a moment later, the stars themselves seemed to move. The Nemesis vanished. Every sensor went blind. Every scanner returned nothing but static. Where did it go? Shouted the helmsman. Then, boom! A ripple of gravity tore through space, sending dozens of Council ships spinning off course. The Nemesis had jumped, short-range microwarps faster than any engine in existence. It appeared directly inside the fleet formation. Its weapons ignited, silent flashes of light that erased entire cruisers in seconds. Fire all batteries. Sova yelled. The fleet responded, filling the void with plasma and antimatter rounds. But every blast curved mid-space, swallowed by invisible gravity wells. The Nemesis bent reality itself, folding space around its hull. Direct hits ineffective, cried a technician. It's bending the shots back toward us. And then something stranger happened. Every ship in the Council fleet heard a whisper, not through their comms, inside their minds. You shouldn't have come back. Crew members clutched their heads, screaming. Memories that weren't theirs flashed before their eyes. Humans dying on burning worlds, the screams of civilians, the destruction of Earth. It wasn't an attack. It was remembrance. The Nemesis was showing them what it remembered. A bridge officer on Sova's ship collapsed, crying. It's in my head. It's making me see. Sova turned pale. Shut down all neural links. Cut every AI interface. But it was too late. The warship's systems flickered. The Nemesis was inside their network, spreading like a ghost through the fleet's mind. One by one, ships began turning on each other, firing without command. Entire squadrons self-destructed. Within minutes, the once mighty fleet became a storm of fire and confusion. Through it all, the voice continued, calm, almost sorrowful. You built your peace on lies. You erased the truth. Now you will remember. Sova stared in disbelief as the fleet disintegrated before him. Chancellor, we're being overrun, he shouted into the comm. We can't contain it. It's not fighting, it's teaching. So it's forcing our systems to relive the war. Rune's voice came back, harsh and cracking. Destroy it! Whatever it takes. But the Chancellor's transmission ended abruptly, cut off mid-sentence. On the main screen, the Nemesis appeared again, close enough to fill the entire view. Its hull was covered in light, shifting symbols, patterns of old Earth languages mixed with alien code. The ship spoke again, directly to Sova. Your council betrayed humanity. I was there when they fell. I watched their world burn. We tried to stop it, Sova whispered, trembling. No, the voice replied softly. So you tried to erase it. A blinding white glow filled the screen. When the light faded, only wreckage floated in the void. Thousands of ships gone. Silence everywhere. The Nemesis drifted through the debris field, its engines glowing faintly red. Its sensors scanned the remains. No humans, no life. Only machines and lies. Inside its core, the ship processed its own memories. A single line of old code replayed in its mind. Mission incomplete. And then, for the first time in 2 centuries, it changed that line. Mission updated. Retrieve the human archive. The ship turned slowly toward the distant light of the Council's capital world, Orion Prime. Its engines ignited. Brighter than ever, across every surviving communication channel in the galaxy, one final message echoed in that calm, haunting voice. Return what was stolen. On Orion Prime, panic spread like wildfire. Every screen across the planet flickered with the same transmission, the insignia of old Earth, glowing white against black. Archivist Thalen stood at his balcony, staring at the night sky, whispering to himself, "She's not destroying us. She's reminding us." Behind him, alarms screamed. The Council's defenses powered up. The Chancellor was calling for war, but Thalen knew it was too late. The Nemesis was coming, not as a destroyer, but as a witness, and nothing in the galaxy could stop what came next. The stars were quiet. Too quiet. Out in the black, beyond the edge of known space, the Council's grand fleet waited like a wall of fire. Thousands of ships, carriers, destroyers, drones floated in formation. Their hulls glowed under cold starlight, ready for war. At the center of it all was the flagship, Vigilant Star. Inside its command deck, General Sova stood before a vast window that showed nothing but darkness. Somewhere out there, hidden among the shadows, was the one ship everyone feared to name, the Nemesis. "Range 50,000 kilometers and closing," said a nervous officer. No visible movement, no weapon activity. Sova frowned. "It's just watching us." Behind him, a hollow screen flickered to life. The tired, heavy face of Chancellor Run appeared. "General, remember, this mission never happened. The Nemesis must be erased. No witnesses, no debris, no trace." "Understood." "Yes, Chancellor," Sova said quietly. He looked back at the blackness ahead and gave a single order. "Weapons ready." Target locked. The Nemesis drifted in silence. Its hull was blacker than space itself, absorbing every ray of light. Deep inside its core, a faint hum began to rise, a heartbeat of metal and memory. A spark of light moved through the ship's neural conduits, connecting thousands of processors to one central mind. The ship wasn't just alive, it was thinking. And deep within its digital memory, a voice stirred. "Wake up! They've come for us again." It was the echo of Admiral Mara Corrin, the last human commander to ever serve on the Nemesis. Her consciousness, her instincts, her emotions, everything, had been burned into the ship's mind before she died. The warship opened its eyes. Its sensors reached across the void and saw the approaching fleet. It didn't feel fear. It didn't feel anger. Only recognition. "Council signatures detected," said a voice inside its systems. "Engagement probability, 99.4%. Status, human command code absent." Then the ship spoke out loud. Its voice carried across every channel, smooth and haunting. "This is UNS Nemesis. Identify human command code." Aboard the Vigilant Star, every screen flickered. "General! The Nemesis is transmitting." "Put it through," Sova said. The voice came through the bridge speakers, calm, female, mechanical, yet somehow alive. "This is UNS Nemesis. Identify human command code." The crew looked at each other in confusion. "There are no humans here," muttered Sova. The voice paused. Then, colder, "No human command detected. Reclassifying fleet hostile. Protocol 7 initiated." "What's Protocol 7? One of the officers asked, panic in her voice. Sova didn't answer. He didn't know. The stars began to bend. Light twisted around the Nemesis like ripples on water. Space itself seemed to warp, and then the ship was gone, vanished. "Where did it go?" shouted a navigator. Before anyone could answer, alarms screamed. The ship reappeared inside the fleet formation, closer than physics should have allowed. Then came the first flash, white, blinding. One Council cruiser exploded into dust. Another followed, then another. "They can't track it," yelled an officer. "It's teleporting inside the fleet." The Nemesis wasn't firing traditional weapons.